Compounding pharmacist that Robin writes about in her new book, What's Age Got to Do with It? Jim, you've been our pharmacist for, what, 20-plus years?
Oh, God.
I mean, a long time.
I remember when Robin was in her early 40s and she came to me and she said, oh, my gosh, the boys are running from me half the month.
Let's talk about this compounding pharmacy thing. Why not just get that in a pill and take it? Why have to grind it up and mix it up and put it together?
Well, it's not commercially available. These hormones we're talking about, these bioidentical hormones, cannot be patented because they are naturally occurring in nature, in our bodies. Therefore, they require a compounding pharmacist to fill the prescription that the doctor...
You're saying because they can't be patented, then no big drug company's going to make them.
Exactly.
Each patient requires a different prescription. So they have to be personalized for each patient.
Okay, how do you find a compounding pharmacist?
There is actually a website, iacprx.org, that you can have a compounding pharmacist referral line.
iacprx.org.
Right.
All right, good. And we'll have a link to Jim Hernser as well.
Okay, Natalie is an emergency room doctor who credits me with opening her eyes about seeing my experience with menopause on TV.
I'm an emergency physician. I've been one for 14 years. About 5 months ago, I started having really severe hot flashes and night sweats, headaches, muscle aches. It simply became intolerable. So I called my OBGYN and just asked him to write me a prescription for synthetic estrogen. I saw Robin on the Oprah Winfrey Show. I had never heard of bioidentical compounds. I learned a great deal. I did go on these bioidentical compounds, and for a brief period of time, I felt wonderful. For me personally, that treatment was not ultimately the best. I don't regret what I did. This experience has changed me as a physician. I wonder if there were patients who in fact had symptoms of perimenopause that were treated as if it was just depression. Maybe more could have been done in asking more questions, and perhaps their treatment should have been hormone treatment rather than antidepressant drugs. Now I will ask the right questions.
So, doctor, it's wrong to assume that every doctor is up to speed on everything that is going on within a person at a given time, correct?
Absolutely. Medicine, in my opinion, is continuous. You're always learning. I'm a perfect example of not knowing. I'd never heard of bioidentical compounds. I'd never heard of a compounding pharmacy. It was a total different language to me.
All right. And so at this point, if you see someone that's showing this symptom complex or some other symptomatology that includes some of these, it might be hormonal, it might be depression, it could be a lot of different things, but you would include this in your discussion with the patient as a possible treatment strategy.
What this will do is allow me to ask more questions, to go a little bit further other than just calling in the mental health specialists and treating them for depression, that maybe their treatment may in fact be hormonal rather than antidepressant.
And I know you tried synthetic hormones and had some adverse reaction to that. You didn't really like.
Well, I only took it for a week. What happened is I got the prescription, and then I came home the same day when I turned in the prescription and saw the show with Oprah and you. And this is a classic example of how a doctor can actually learn from someone who's a patient who's not in a medical profession, because I learned from you. Okay. And so I didn't have a bad outcome, but I took the estrogen until my bioidentical compounds came in. Okay. Because I had to get rid of the hot flashes. It was intolerable. So I took it for a week, and then I started on the bioidenticals. That's when I felt fantastic. And I really did not want to stop, but I had some adverse side effects. I think that my doctors weren't as informed about some of the side effects of the medication, and that's where my ball dropped.
Well, I know that you're still struggling to feel like your old self again, so I am offering to take you to the Hall Center for an appointment with Dr. Prudence Hall. How fast? How fast?
Next, we're going to meet a woman who ignored her health symptoms and almost lost her life in the process. We'll be right back.
Becky, this is the Thyroflex. This machine will tell me if you should be on thyroid medication or not.
Okay.
The muscle I'm after comes around here and underneath here.
So you're going to monitor the reflexes in that muscle?
Yes. I'm just going to hit you a few times with this.
That's a very strange sensation.
We are 98.5% certain that you are hypothyroid.
Well, that was our guest, Becky, getting her thyroid tested using the ThyroFlex machine at the Hall Center. Now, this is just one way that you can get tested to see if you have low thyroid.
Leslie says she was tired for over a year and never thought about testing her thyroid. It wasn't until she discovered a knot on the back of her neck that she was told she had thyroid cancer.
I had 3 young kids and I was feeling very tired, so I went to the doctor and he ran some tests, which all came back fine. And he said, of course you're tired, you have 3 young kids. And then in about a year, I found a knot in my neck and I had to have it biopsied, and that showed up to be thyroid cancer. I had surgery where they removed my thyroid and 33 lymph nodes. What I hope women learn from me is to listen to your body. One thing that Robin talks about that I love is being your own advocate for your health.
Well, Leslie, I'm glad you're here. Now, you talk about really relating to Robin saying to be a really active advocate for your own health. What would you have done different looking back?
Well, I probably just would have been more persistent and insisted that I felt differently, because I think that was the thing. I had noticed a change, and I think anytime you feel a change that you should really pursue it.
You said the blood test came back fine, and therefore you should be okay, but it was ultimately determined that you had 5 masses in your neck. They took out 33 lymph nodes, thyroid and 2 parathyroid, and out of the 33 lymph nodes, 17 were positive for cancer. But you've now been cancer-free for 8 years?
8 years.
8 years. Now, Dr. Leibowitz, this test that we were showing, the tape piece, that seems illogical to me that something like that could work, but I've had it done, and so I'm confident that it is. But that's just part of the overall workup that needs to be done. That's not some magic bullet.
That's right. I use that as one tool. The reflexes are affected very much by our thyroid hormone levels, not just the levels in our blood, but actually how the thyroid works at the cellular level.
In my book, I talk a lot about some of the things women can do for themselves to feel more comfortable when suffering from menopausal symptoms. I recommend every woman own a pair of lightweight pajamas just in case a hot flash or a night sweat happens suddenly. Everyone here today is going home with a pair of PJ Harlow pajamas because I love them.
She lives in these things. I
do.
swear she does. I mean, she's not just saying it, she really does.
I love them.
I love coming to the studio because I get to see something different. No, they're really fun. Now, one of Robin's favorite things that she had on hand when having a hot flash that Jordan talked about was the mini fan. She would whip it out and cool herself down. So everybody in the audience is going to go home with this. It's really a lot of fun. It's called the Cool It Personal Fan, and it's from Brookstone. And these things are really cool. I've been using it while I was up here. Y'all didn't know it.
Feels good.
You got to cool a head like this. It comes in handy.
I also think it's important that women get a restful night's sleep. So part of my bedtime routine is to have a nice cup of hot tea before heading off to sleep. So everyone here is getting a box of Celestial Seasonings New Vanilla Sleepy Time Tea. This is from their best-selling Sleepy Time tea line.
Now, also, and I've admitted, we're a huge fan of Jim Hernser. He's the compounding pharmacist, and he's sending everyone in the audience home with a DVD all about bioidentical hormones and thyroid balance. So this is something you really want to take a look at. We'll be right back. For more information about hormones and to see a list of symptoms of menopause like night sweats, emotional changes, problems with memory, weight fluctuations, those sort of things, go to drphil.com. We're going to have lots of information there so you can kind of grade your own paper and see if this is something you need to ask about. I really want to thank all of my guests for being here today, including Dr. Prudence Hall, Dr. Howard Leibowitz, and compounding pharmacist Jim Hernser. Also, everyone in the audience today is going home with a copy of Robin's new book, What's Age Got to Do With It. Thanks for being here. So long.